to get the podcast done so you can play video games, Joel.
This is true. There are video games to be played.
I don't even like video games. They're immature.
That is absolutely false.
That might be false. Welcome to Practical Shooting After Dark. My name is Ben. We're here to talk about shooting. On deck is our video game fiend, Mr. Joel Park.
I was going to say, like 40 hours of police story would say otherwise about that, sir.
That game?
Yeah.
Is it 40?
That's what we have on my Switch. I have like probably
up.
20, as much on Steam. So
no, I'm pulling up my Steam profile right now. Oh my God!
How many hours do you have on yours?
I don't even want to say it. I have not owned that game for very long.
My Switch had like 20 hours just from the time when I was there, so we played it a bit.
Oh man,
it was good though.
Loser, I play games too much.
All
right. And Mr. Watson's also here. Yeah.
Yes. StarCraft King right here.
Oh.
StarCraft King.
I used to play that back in the day.
All right, guys. We're here to talk about shooting. You guys know the rules. Everybody comes here with a topic, a show and tell, something that pisses them off, something they want to talk about. It doesn't really matter. I just want to know what do you got for me? Oh, wait. We should do business stuff first. We should do announcements. All right. Practical Shooting Training Group is having a summit in Wisconsin, as people may have heard about. The guy now running it and organizing it is Mr. Joel Park. Joel, what's going on with that?
So it is a non-commercial, basically gathering of people sharing their shooting knowledge. So there's I don't know the numbers for me. Probably a dozen people instructing. So like Ben and Kim will be there. Me, I guess I don't want to start dropping names, but people that are been good at shooting, and
it's
they're
not
just
strictly relevant. But
no. So like, hey, let's say I'm going to teach for 2 hours on transitioning the gun, and then maybe the next guy's like, hey, I want to do position entry and exits. So we'll have time blocks, and basically people will share how they train, what they think is important, how they practice, and so we'll have instruction, and then also just bays set up with like just USPSA props out there. So you and a couple of your homeboys could just go set up and practice together. Maybe guys you wouldn't normally get to practice with.
But let's cut through this. What is it?
It is a sharing of information.
Well, let's be more specific. So there's a big shooting range. It's not huge. It's 10 pistol bays. It's a sizable-ish shooting range. We're going to have people there instructing, giving short seminars between 30 minutes and 2 hours, right?
Yep.
All right. On a variety of topics. And when people participating can sign up and take whatever they want, it's kind of a first come, first served thing. So like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing yet because I'm kind of the fill-in guy, but I'm sure that I'll do maybe 3 or 4 1-hour segments a day over the course of the 3 days, which people can just sign up for. And so, Mr. Kim will be, Joel will be doing that. You know what I mean? So people will be able to take stuff, and then I want to sign up and take other people's stuff to see what they're talking about or what they're doing. We have mostly it's shooting stuff, but I think there's like a first aid thing. There's some physical training stuff for people who are experts in those fields. So, I mean, that is what it is. It's not a thing for anybody to make money. People are paying a minimal fee to do it. And what I would prefer is that you show up and can instruct. But if you can't, that's fine too. Just take people's stuff and kind of see what's up. The important thing to know is it's not like a 2-day long Kim class. That's not what it is. You'll be signing up for stuff with a lot of different people. So yeah, and then there'll be plenty of space there. You can kind of shoot as much as you want. So it'll be a good thing. Yeah.
Yep. Just a good way to learn, and especially from guys that maybe you haven't normally got to train with or got the opportunity to learn from. So.
All right. So who is it open to, Joel?
It is open to training group members only.
Yes, you have to be a member to register, and you have to maintain the membership through the thing.
Correct.
Okay. So if you'd like to find out more, go to practicalshootingtraininggroup.com if you're a member and sign up for that shit. Or not. Other business stuff going on. Match mentality is a thing that you should buy to put Joel's kids through college or whatever. There's so much wrong with what I just said, isn't there, Joel?
There's a lot, yeah.
At least 4 things wrong with it, but I'm just gonna let it ride. Okay, anything else? talk about? No other announcements?
No, Ben's still doing classes. If you have issues, talk to your class organizers.
People know. Okay. Now we can get on to the fun stuff.
Ben, you've already got a show and tell, I see there.
I have a gun here with me. Okay, so I will show and tell. So here I have in my little hands a Tanfolio Limited Elite Extreme, whatever. So this is a 40 caliber limited gun that I shot last year, and attached to it are weights that make the gun heavier. So I've been kind of experimenting with this, and I think I put a video on social media a while back, didn't I?
You did.
Yes.
Just shooting a 9mm gun.
Fires.
Yeah, 9mm, a 40 caliber, and then a 40 caliber with weights on it, just to show people what they look like in recoil. And it's been interesting enough that I had like the one downside of adding weights to the front of this gun is that I need a race holster. So I got some race holsters from Finland, and I'm gonna just test this more and shoot it more. Maybe the race holsters will make it onto a future podcast, probably. But I think the interesting discussion is to talk about the weight of the gun.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to say, shooting 9mm, making the gun, like adding weights to the gun, is not something I've ever felt the need to do. Like to make my stock 2s heavier, or even like a Glock, making that heavier to shoot 9mm with doesn't make much sense. I do think the gun's a little bit, it definitely feels more stable being heavier. So shooting a heavier caliber and getting the stability of making the gun heavier seems interesting, and I'm prepared to kind of do a more long-term experiment to see what I think about it and, move forward. So there's not a lot to say except for that it was interesting enough when I tried it that I want to try it more. Sorry, go ahead, Joel. What's your question?
What did you notice was swinging the gun around for transitions? Because obviously when you change the weight of the gun, it does transition differently. You have to push it a tick more. Could you tell a difference? Was it enough to even matter?
Yes, it definitely matters. So it's enough, like you can feel the weight in the transitions. You have to be more careful swinging the gun around. Mm-hmm. But the gun's more stable in recoil, so shooting smaller targets, especially targets that are further away, it makes life a little bit easier shooting the heavy caliber. So a good example would be, like, let's say you're engaging a 25-yard target. Let's say it's an IPSC target. So it's a little smaller. When you're shooting that with your production gun, it's like you would know it, and it would be pretty tough to sail one over the top of the target. But shooting a lighter 40 caliber gun, like that's one of the biggest problems shooting limited for me, is needing to stabilize the gun for follow-up shots if the shots require precision. If the shots don't require precision, I wouldn't want the weights. Like inside of 10 yards, like those weights can fuck off. I don't want them. But shooting further, it definitely makes life easier in the recoil control department, or just like the gun stabilizing when you need to take 2 very well aimed shots.
I was surprised. Well, I know we were messaging back and forth when you were at the range. You sent me a picture of those on your gun. Instantly, like, that's dumb. I don't even understand why you messed with that. It seems like a stupid idea, even as a science project. But I was surprised watching your slow motion videos, just the ones you post on social media. You can tell the gun recoils less sharp, and I don't know. I was surprised, actually. And you could tell the gun recoils less sharp, and also the way it returns. It returns softer, it seems like. Just watching the way the sights track.
I don't know if I would read too much into like the soft return in that particular video. I think one round that it picked up out of the magazine, like, didn't feed in, like, really slick. You know what I mean? So I think that
ammo. Got it.
No, I was shooting factory ammo.
Oh, okay.
It fair. It was It was the Federal action pistol stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was just, I think it just, when it picked that one up, it was weird for whatever reason. But whatever. Yeah, so we'll see. It's an experiment that I'm prepared to continue with. And this might be interesting, seeing as I think like a month ago, I was talking about shooting a Carry Optics Glock 34, and how I felt no inclination to add weight to it at all, which I would still stick with now. Like I don't feel like those guns need to be any heavier. Like I don't feel inclined to do that. But shooting a limited gun, shooting 40 cal, yeah, it's it's interesting, at least interesting enough. I'll try it. Now, do you want to know what I don't like about the weights, aside from the fact that I need a new holster? I don't like race holsters, by the way. That's probably not a shock to anyone listening. I just
wouldn't
don't
want
like
it
it
either. Yeah.
But I don't like. I handle the gun by gripping the front of the slide, and these weights do they do interfere with that a little bit. So one thing I like about the Tanfoglio pistols, and I think the CZs are the same, where they have the holes pre-drilled to add attachments such as thumb rests. So thumb rests and weights. It's like plug and play. It's all modular, which is cool. So I might just take one of the weights off on one side to make the gun easier to handle. So I haven't decided about that yet. So I might, right now there's one weight on each side of the gun. I might take one weight off. I might have both on. Maybe I'll drill some more holes and add a third weight. I don't really fucking know. We'll see. But there's options here, so I'm going to explore them a little bit. I could see me ending up with one weight on the gun, and then still it'd be pretty easy to handle it and rack it, but it'd still be adding some weight. So the testing is required.
I don't know how to respond.
Easy there, Siri. Yeah, I don't know. We will see.
Or maybe hog the holster out so you don't have to use a race holster.
That is not going to happen. I already have the race holsters.
Oh, okay.
The ones that I got are good. Maybe I should put them on and talk about it. But some people have gotten them in the U.S., but they're branded differently. I got them like kind of from the source. You know.
Yes, I want to. You have to tell me more in the future.
Okay. Well, I mean, it'll be a future topic, but
I like it.
No, I'm not. I would, as lazy as I am, I would rather just buy a new holster than hog one out. Man, goddamn, I'm lazy.
You are.
All right. Anyway, that's my spiel about these dumb weights.
Is it available in the U.S.?
These holsters?
No, the weights.
Yes. So they're listed as extreme. That's actually a good question. So they were not available for purchase 2 weeks ago when I last checked, because I wanted to make sure that I was talking about stuff that, like if I go online, like, hey, you guys should buy these weights because these are the heat. Like I wouldn't want to put people in a bad spot, you know. But last I checked on EAA's website, they were not yet there, but I know they had an order in to get them. So
is that something new for this year, Ben, or have those been around for a while?
These are new, and there's new hammers and stuff coming. I've got a lot of actual like prototype parts that I'm testing. I should say Tanfoglio is interested in making new and interesting stuff, and I like how they send some of that stuff to me. Yeah, I'm not part shop. Yep, here we go. So EAA just has a new website now. Tanfoglio Unica is still listed as coming soon, but I'm told that they have an order in and the stuff is en route to them from Italy. So people should be able to buy the stuff in theory. Okay. If they want it. But CZ has the same stuff, I think. The same.
I believe so.
Products. So I do. One thing I would say is I really do like the plug and play nature of the guns, where you can kind of mix and match the accessories as you like. I like that.
And no gunsmith fitting.
No, dude, no.
I know.
Hard pass. All right, Mr. Kim, what do you got?
Yes, I have a new toy as well. So now you're seeing a new optic for me. I bought two of them. If you can see it, this is a SIG Romeo 3 Max.
So, all right, hold on.
Yes.
What screw pattern does that fit?
It's a RTS, the Seymour pattern, RTS2.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a pretty popular footprint. So I didn't have a problem getting the mount for my steel frame Walther. The reason why I wanted to try this was not because I had a lot of issues with my previous one. I mean,
the SROs, right?
Yeah, SROs.
So those are what you told me to buy, which I bought and I'm using.
Yes.
Those are old news.
I feel they're old news. This is what I predicted.
I'll be a friend. I'll buy those things for $50 a piece, Ben, just to get them off your hands, and you can buy the new hotness.
Spidey whitey, Joel. Thanks. We'll talk after.
So right now I'm kind of rotating. I have 4 carry optic setups, 2 with SRO, 2 with the Romeo 3. The reason why I decided to try Romeo is I've heard that they're supposed to be more reliable than the previous models from SIG. So I have only tested about 2,000 rounds on one optic. I have two Romeos. One of them has 2,000. It's running pretty okay. I don't know how long it's going to be reliable or if it's going to be as reliable as SRO because the practice setup on the SRO, I shot now close to 40,000, no malfunction. But one
So you
issue,
haven't, well, hold on. You haven't had any issues? It hasn't walked, like, the zero hasn't walked
Nothing.
on you and nothing.
nothing, like
Wow.
nothing, 40,000
Okay.
rounds.
That's impressive.
And yes, I have 4 SROs total, and I got 40,000 on one of them, probably close to 10,000 on one of them, and rest of them are very mildly used. So last year, people were reporting me with issues with SRO, not like mechanical issues a lot, but mostly double red dot or blurry red dot, glare on the sun, those kind of issues because of the window, I guess, is not as sunlight proof, something like that. So I had that issues the whole year whenever I'm shooting against the sun, but it was not to the point where it would bother me at matches. I know exactly which red dot is the real red dot. However, when I shot at dusty areas like Utah or sometimes in Florida, when the dust picks up on the optic, the glare was just way like going out of control. There was one stage that I shot like 4 rounds on a 15-yard target, not knowing which red dot was actual red dot. And the real red dot had too much glare, and the double second red dot that's not a real red dot, but just refracted by the sun. I just couldn't tell on one stage. So that was a deciding factor. After that, I bought a cover, and that really helps not picking up the dust too. But I just didn't like that issue. And then this Romeo, the window is just way better than SRO. I just don't know the reliability part. So while I'm shooting, one thing I really like is it's the same MOA, same red dot size, but the brightness is pretty bright. SRO can be pretty bright too, so it doesn't have any issue uh, being a clear red dot against the sun. But the real benefit for this so far is absolutely I can do anything like facing the sun, point at the sun, anything. I can still see the red dot. There's no other red dot or no glare issue so far. Only one downside is the adjustment is a little bit tougher. You have to have a specific the Allen wrench, but SRO or Delta Point Pro I used before. Those I don't need Allen wrench to adjust. So far it's working pretty good. So I'll see how reliable it is. That's why I'm still having 2 SROs and 2 Romeos. So I'm going to be traveling with.
What reports have you heard about the reliability of the Romeos?
So far, I've heard only 2 reports about having malfunction, but both were, it sounded like one of them was out of the box issue. So it maybe have a bad batch on that one.
Well, it was QC, right?
Yes.
It wasn't it didn't break. It was fucked when they got it.
Yes, right. Like they were saying 20 shots was causing malfunction. But then the other one was direct mount related. So a guy was shooting CZ direct mounted to the gun. And I talked to Myers about it. And then he has a source, other people shooting it. Somebody was telling direct mount usually have more shock going through. I don't have a direct mount. I have a separate mount and optic on the top. But people who's using the gun milled for specific optic and just putting on top of the slide rather than a mount, that can have issue is what I heard, because there's more shock going on. But so far, issues, yes.
So I think we've talked about this. You were talking about using the SROs for practice and those for matches, depending on the reliability.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm still using one of the Romeo in practice to just figure out the round count, when it's gonna fail or if it's gonna fail. But at matches, I have pretty much brand new. I only shot a couple hundred rounds through it. That's gonna be my match dedicated optic.
How much are those things? Out of curiosity.
The retail, I think it was $50 more than SRO, if I remember correctly. So it was high end, middle end of $600.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Mr. Park, what do you got?
I know we've kind of talked about it in the past, but it's something I've learned a lot, especially doing classes, is just how important slow motion video is, especially just watching the gun to learn everything you need to know. So even lately, I've caught myself where if I'm watching somebody shooting video on Instagram, I kind of just ignore everything that's going on, and like my eyes just snap to the gun, and I just watch the gun, and that'll pretty much that tells you a lot. So like things, for instance, you can watch the gun, just tell how it's recoiling. Is there like separation between their firing hand and their support hand? Is the gun flipping more than it should? Are they using too much firing hand tension? You'd see the muzzle of the gun oscillating really hard. You can tell that kind of stuff. Is the gun moving precisely between targets? Is the gun up when they get to a position? Are they over aiming? You watch the gun move to a target and they just kind of target sights, and they decide to send it. Maybe they're firing hopers at targets. So maybe you can tell they're just kind of swinging the gun wildly, and maybe they're hooking up, still getting hits. But it's super interesting to me. And I've even at local matches, I've noticed I've caught myself doing that, where I kind of just ignore if I'm watching something. I kind of just ignore everything else, like when I'm standing back watching somebody shoot, and I just watch the gun. And I think you can learn a lot that way. And especially then even in classes where I just watch the gun recoiling, I don't even really care about their target. And then I can already tell what the target's going to look like before you even go down. Even if you can't see the targets, you can't see the hits. Be like, yep, this is what's going on. Yep, you're pushing down the gun. Yep, it was your second shot. So anyway, I would just suggest if you're not doing slow motion anyway, you should be.
Hold on, Joel.
Yep.
Before you go further, how many slow motion or how many video reviews on Training Group, like in the silver section, the member to member stuff, how many of those have you watched?
A lot. Hundreds probably.
So it took you, it's not like it's super obvious. You see a lot now, but it took you put in a lot to be able to see what you see.
Yes.
All right. I want to be clear with people about that, because it's not like you just slow-mo, like you take a video of you shooting and that means anything. Like you got to understand what you're looking at.
Yes. So yes, that was actually the next place I was going to go with it.
Oh, so, man.
No,
okay.
You're good. So I've spent a lot of time doing this, and yes, Training Group, watching the reviews is good. And honestly, I learned to start doing this from Training Group, and then I incorporated that into my classes since then that I do. So if you're a member of Training Group, even if you're just a bronze member, watching those would be a good resource. And I've just found out that I've learned a lot about my personal shooting, and then I've learned a lot in classes to be able to help people also. But it just makes you more educated. You learn a lot. And now that I'm not saying I'm the best, but I've watched enough of those videos you guys post, watched enough different people shooting, you get a pretty good grasp of what's going on. It doesn't come easily, especially at first when you're just kind of I don't know, the gun's going off, whatever. But I think it's really worth investing the time in it. At least for me personally, I feel it's been worth the payoff of how much time I've put in and studied that.
I think the video thing's gone further than we thought it even could when we were doing it to start with. It's been very productive.
Yeah, but even if you don't have any interest in instructing, I think it's well worth it to learn what you're looking at.
Yes, I think having more knowledge makes you see more and learn how to fix that too.
Yeah. So if you want to know how to spot those things that I was talking about, that whole laundry list of things that could happen, Training Group's a good resource. You just watch some of those, especially the slow motion videos of somebody shooting from the side. You get a good idea of what's going on, and these dudes do a good job of explaining what you're seeing, what you should be looking for, and then what's causing that to happen. Most of the time.
Yes. All right. One guy sent in 2 questions, not just 1, but 2. So it'll be a twofer. Who wants to handle an eye dominance issue?
Kim.
Okay, fire it up.
Number 1, I am cross-eye dominant, right-handed shooter, left-eye dominant. In shooting bullseye, this was never an issue to shoot both eyes open, because I would just wear a blinder over my left eye, and that would take care of the cross-eye dominance issue. Obviously, I'm not going to wear a blinder in USPSA. So I found myself, dude, don't wear it. It's not a blinder. It's an eye patch, and you're a pirate. Make it a whole thing. Have some fun with it.
Shiver me timbers.
I'm just saying, these people got to think outside the box a little bit. Anyway, I was wondering if you recommend just closing my dominant eye as I'm getting into position to shoot to take care of this issue, or just shoot the heck out of drills with both eyes open and try to hammer into my brain what this cross-eye dominant sight picture looks like when both eyes are open. I just don't want to waste the time and ammo trying to work towards something that might not be worth the results. It sounds like he's shooting right-eyed.
It sounds like it, yes.
All right, well, take it away, Kim.
Yes. So two things I want to mention is this. First, yeah, you got to believe that you can actually shoot cross-eye dominant at a higher level. So my wife is actually cross-eye dominant, and when I took her out to shoot, she was telling me, "Hey, I can't shoot like you because I'm cross-eye dominant." And I told her, "Hey, there's a top world champion shooter named Dave Savigny. He's a cross-eye dominant shooter, and he can shoot as a cross-eye dominant right-handed with the left eye. Basically, he places the gun slightly to the left so he can shoot with the left eye dominance. There's a couple interviews of him that explains he just simply, all he does is put that gun slightly to the left so he can use the left eye. So basically, you gotta, yeah, there's a way that you can shoot. So first, believe that you can shoot high level with it, and also I recommend shooting with the left eye with your dominant eye. Just simply try to place your gun slightly off center from the right to the left. So practice with it, and you're probably not going to have issue because like Dave Savigny proved it, shooting with the left eye right-handed and winning world champion and like national champion titles. Boom.
I should also point out that most people, if they're shooting with their weak hand, so during a weak hand stage, they still shoot with their dominant eye, and they also like slightly offset the gun. And you'll see a lot of right-handed people when they shoot left-handed, they're gonna like gangster, give the gun the little gangster tilt because they're tilting the sight over to their right eye.
Yep.
So this is a very solvable problem. I do not think that hammering drills a bunch is going to fix it, though. You should fix it with your brain, not with volume.
Yes. Exactly. One thing I had to do though is I had similar situation, not quite the same. So I was born with bad eyesight, so I cannot see the front sight with a regular prescription. That's mainly why I like shooting carry optics too. But when I shot iron sight, I shot many years. What I had to do is my right eye prescription is a close distance prescription, so I can see the front sight, but I cannot see the further target if I close my left eye. It's all blurry. I can only see the front sight. So my eye dominance quickly changed, depends on the focal depth. So whenever I see the further target, I am using my left eye to spot the target, and I'm only using my right eye to see the front sight. That's not something naturally happened. I had to practice to change my eye dominance. So whenever the focal depth is close, when I do the eye dominance test like this, it goes to my right eye. Whenever I see the further distance target, it goes to my left eye. Like I said, after training and using different eyes for different distances, it took me, I think, a couple months in the beginning of training to actually train my brain. But like Ben said, it's the brain training issue.
Yeah.
Ben, what do you think? Some people put like a little piece of like Scotch tape on their glasses to help them learn to use the correct eye also.
Well, it's not the correct. It's not the correct eye. If it were me and I was cross dominant, I would shoot with my dominant eye. I would do exactly what Kim's talking about. So if you're watching the web stream, instead of holding my gun like this in front of my right eye, you hold it like this in front of your left eye. It's hardly a difference. Like this trend. I mean that doing it that way, you're not really fighting with anything. You're not fighting the nature of how your eyes are set up. You're just rolling with it. Like trying to occlude my dominant eye it's just goofy to me. I wouldn't do that. But I mean, if you've already been shooting right-eyed, right-handed, and you're left-eye dominant, and you already kind of solved this problem, I wouldn't go change it either. I would just do what I'm doing.
Yeah. Just to clarify, whenever my eye dominance change depends on the focal distance, every time I just place my gun in line with my right eye. That doesn't change.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to question number 2 and the final question. This is probably a Kim question too, if we're looking at the rest of the panel, and you'll know why in a second, Joel. I'm in the Marines, so fitness is a big part of our career.
Yep, that counts me out.
Yep, I'm out.
Then Ben's out.
I tried to do more functional fitness routines, and additionally, to help with USPSA, I've been trying to add forearm strengthening and sprint drills to my training routine as well. Are there any specific workouts or muscle groups? Oh man, this is gonna go on for a while, but and that you recommend focusing on when working out to try to help your shooting?
It depends on the person. First, we can talk about two things. First, I had motorcycle accident and stuff, so I had back issues. For the functional training, I had to strengthen, my back muscles and lat muscles and stuff like that to just help my lifestyle. That's one thing that you need to consider for your lifestyle. And then the second one is naturally when we shoot, we use certain muscles more than the other. For example, recoil kicks you straight back. So there's like muscles we use to fight against that straight back force. And every eccentric motion, you have to do the opposite way kind of thing too. So every time you try to fight something straight back, you need to do some exercise the opposite way to balance that. For example, this guy mentioned about doing forearm exercise. There's 3 muscles in your forearm, but basically the one that locks our wrist for recoil management is the wrist motion upward and downward. And you got to take care of the third muscle kind of thing. And one of the popular one is the gripper exercise and doing the opposite exercise. I have it right here on my table, right? Like all the time. So I just put it in the string and go to the opposite way, opening up these muscles. So every workout you do in one way, you should be doing the opposite way to balance the eccentric kind of motion. So it kind of depends on the person, but it sounds like he's doing a lot of functional exercise, which is pretty good. That's just going to prevent all the injuries for us. So like I said, do the opposite motions a lot of the times to balance and have a good health. And a lot of people actually may have developed shoulder or developed front shoulder from like squeezing forward. That's pretty common issue, like squeezing muscles inward. And then you got to open that up, which is the back muscle, shoulder, scapula area, those kind of things. Those exercises are all in the training group. So if he's on training group, like do those exercises to balance.
Yeah. Look at that, Kim. You hit it out of the park, my man.
There's like a couple body parts that I want to emphasize, though. There's 3 body parts that I really want to emphasize.
Keep this PG, please, Kim. I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
Hip thrust is one of them. Okay. Shoulder scapula. That's tightening up a lot. So developing the shoulder scapula and the stability on your shoulder scapula will help you like stop the gun in transition kind of thing. And then another one is the ankle. A lot of the times we need ankle stability. We don't want the foot collapsing. And also when we explode out, we need to extend that ankle, lift up your heel kind of thing. Those are really good. And the last one is the forearm and the grip, the front arm to keep your health. Those 3 are really important to me.
Well, it's a big winner. Thank you very much, Mr. Kim. All right, listeners, if you have questions that you'd like intelligent answers from Mr. Kim, go to bensteger.com, send me your questions, and we'll talk. Well, I'll make him talk about it on the podcast. Does that sound fair, Joel?
Yeah, or you could go to training group also.
Practice shooting training group. That's good too. Yeah. But really, go to bensteger.com, send me your questions for the podcast. That's it. We're out.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
Video game time.